and welcome to Wise Women Wednesdays. My name is Jennifer Regular, and I am the Soul Illuminator at Lighting the Path. I'm also a host of this show, which excites me so much because I get to meet these incredible women from around the world who are sharing their messages and their journey to help encourage you to become who you came here to be and do what you came here to do. Today, I have Tanna Marshall from LA. She is an author, a transformational women's empowerment coach, a certified law of attraction coach, a certified holistic health practitioner, an EFT practitioner, and the founder of Infinite Women. It's a feminine community that's supporting inspiring women, of course, and connecting high vibe, like-minded people through programs, events, and retreats. And you know what? Tanna loves supporting women that are over 50 that are 50 and over to become more confident and stand in their power with love and compassion for themselves and for others so that they can create the life that they want, both with her one-to-one clients and in her signature program, Overcoming Nice Girl Syndrome. And this is exactly what she's here to talk to us about, this nice girl syndrome. Tanna, I am so excited to be talking with you because I know so many women, including myself, that would probably be diagnosed or assessed as having this nice girl syndrome. So how do we overcome that? Well, how did this even become your passion?
Because I'm a nice girl. No, I mean, I've always tried to be nice, and I think it serves you well to be the best person that you can be. But if you're too nice, and especially too nice to people who keep taking advantage of it and never give back, then it turns into neglect, sometimes abuse. And I've just had situations in my life where I've had that happen, and I've had to step away from people, which can be scary. And I've created this program based on everything that I've gone through, that I have done to create healthy boundaries with love. This isn't a big FU to anybody. This is just saying, look, I'm doing this for myself. And you're going to be called selfish, and we have to own that. Yes, I am selfish, and know that it's okay. And it's that oxygen mask an analogy. You know, we have to take care of ourselves first, or we have nothing to give to anybody else. And I work primarily with women 50 and over because we're the ones that have been taking care of everybody for so long. Whether you've raised a family, I don't have kids, but I took care of my mom full time for 8 years. I lived with her and took care of her for 15, but full time for 8. And so I know what it's like to give everything up and then, you know, have things happen that weren't expected afterwards that cause you to be like, wait a minute, now I need to take care of myself. And there are so many women who don't even think about that. And when I meet them and they hear about what I'm doing, or they just the title of the program, they're like, oh, I think that's me. Tell me more about that. And the women that I've been working with in the program are just having aha moments, and they're starting to stand their ground and stand up for themselves. And they're getting more loving responses from people as they're learning to take better care of themselves. So it's so fulfilling for me to watch this, to share what I've learned and what I've been doing with women and support them, especially if they have that pushback, because you need that support. Otherwise you might crumble and be like, okay, I'll just be your doormat again. You need that support. So it's such an honor for me and such a joy for me to give that support. So that's basically what that's all about.
Yes. And I like how you said too, it's not an FU to the world. It's just switching the focus, turning the spotlight kind of on yourselves to light up, you know, what your needs are and what you need to tend to. And I think it's a really common misconception and misperception about boundaries creating walls when it actually creates more freedom.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, there are different levels of boundaries too. And it may seem harsh sometimes to say, you know what, I need to step over here. And sometimes it's temporary, sometimes it's permanent. Sometimes you need to step away from people permanently because they're just not good for you. And you and I understand, because we're heart-centered entrepreneurs, and we work on staying connected and being aligned and coming from our hearts and working from our spirits and communicating that way with other people. there are a lot of people that don't operate that way, and they don't get it at all, and they think you're crazy. I saw a quote once that I love. You're crazy to people who can't manipulate you.
Oh.
A lot of times when you do step back and you stop doing stuff for other people, they get angry. They act like children who've had their toy taken away because they have. They've been used to having this resource and things taken care of for them, and just you're there for them all the time. And when you say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. And that's what I mean when I say it's not an FU. It's like, okay, I love you, but I need to love you from afar. And sometimes that's the way it needs to stay. And it's kind of a moment by moment thing. Sometimes you might be able to come back and have an understanding where people are like, okay, I get it. I respect where you are now. Let's move forward from here. A lot of times it's like, nope, I need to stay over here now.
And it's true too that we can only take people as far as they come. And I really appreciate how you share your journey and what you've learned along the way, and then turn that around to help other women that are going through what you have. So tell us a little bit more about what you actually went through. How does the nice girl syndrome show up?
Well, like I said, a lot of times it's unconscious, where women are just so used to taking care of everybody else. And a lot of times that's their role. When I was younger, I just wanted to be a wife and mother. I wanted 4 kids. I wanted them spaced 2 years apart. I wanted to be the cool mom. I wanted all the kids to want to come over to my house. And my life did not turn out that way. I didn't get married until I was 42, and I realized I didn't want kids at a certain point. I helped raise my nieces, and they were great, but their teen years were stressful. And I realized, yeah, I'm good. I think that was enough. And if someone told me when I was younger, this is how your life would turn out, you're not going to get married to a 42 and you're not having kids, I would be like, well, I'll kill myself. But, it worked out because I ended up taking care of my mother, which was fine. I mean, my parents were older, did everything for me. I'm the baby. And I helped take care of my father towards the end of his life. And he was dying. He asked me to move in with my mom and take care of her. So I did. And she didn't require my care full time for a few years. But my whole life was about her. I was her full-time caregiver. And so I gave up everything. I mean, my husband and I didn't even live together. We still don't live together, but that's just what works for us. But that's one of the reasons we just continued that, because I was taking care of my mom when we got married. And it's like, okay, this is just the way it is. But after she died, things happened that I won't say because it's sensitive family stuff. But stuff happened that made me go, wait a minute. And it took over a year. I mean, there were things that happened immediately that I was blindsided by, and I was like, what? But I was so filled with grief, but I was so busy just trying to take care of the estate. I almost didn't have time to grieve. I'm just kind of catching up on it now, 4 years later. But it wasn't until a year later, and I went back into therapy to try to work through all these feelings, that I realized how angry I was. And I said, I need some space. I'm in therapy. I'm working through some stuff, and I need time to do it uninterrupted. And the longer I was away from people, the happier I was, the more I felt like I could just be me. And, and I will say, I love my family, but we're different. And I have a soul family of people that understand me. And that's what I'm creating in my Infinite Woman community too, a soul family where women can come and be with like-minded women who understand them. And we need that, because your blood relatives aren't always going to get you. And it may be to the point where it's detrimental to your well-being, whether they are actually putting you down or they just dismiss you, like you're not really seen, you're not respected, you're not appreciated, you're just kind of there taking care of things. And then when you stop, they get angry. And that's when you need that support and to grow that confidence, to stay strong and stand your ground and say, no, this is what works for me. And along those lines, to me, it's so important to have a feminine community as well. And I love men. I have some really amazing, enlightened men in my life. My husband's one of them, thank God.
Yay.
But it's so important for women to have the support of other women. And I've always felt like that. Going back to high school, I was put into Catholic girls' school because in Los Angeles in the 70s, they were busing kids. They were busing kids from the bad neighborhoods into the better neighborhoods so they could get a good education, which made sense. But they were busing kids from the good neighborhoods to the bad neighborhoods. And my dad was a retired policeman. He's like, no, my daughter's not going to be sent to South Central LA. No. So they put me in a private school and it was an all girls school. And the first day I was like, oh, no boys to be mean to me, because I was an ugly duckling. I was the classic ugly duckling, fat, glasses, braces, acne. I had the whole thing going. And it was just, I had such a bond, and I had my group of friends, I think within a month, and I'm still close friends with most of them. Most of my class is still in touch and close.
Wow.
I've just carried that forward. My girlfriends have always been so important to me. And even if there's a man who has great energy, you throw a man's energy into the mix and it's like, it's just different. We need that connection with each other to grow, expand, and kind of bask in and marinate in that feminine energy. It's so beneficial for women. And so that's why I really, really promote connection with women amongst themselves.
Yes, and it's really part of being a woman in the modern world too, where it's important. We have to make that effort, I guess you can say, and really make a point of coming together and gathering and, keeping that. There, I wrote about in one of my blog posts about the lost art of women's intuition, because a lot of women have entered the workforce and are go, 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 and busy, 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 and taking care of the kids, and relationships are not, just trying to care for a lot of things, but we've lost touch with our inner essence and our inner guidance. And like you say, when we come together as women in community, in a group, then we start vibing that way again too. And we connect on that maternal level where we're caring for each other and caring for our souls and allowing that to be strengthened through that community.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like boys are temporary, girlfriends are forever. And what I always tell women, and I tell girls, I think this is really important too, is you can meet and marry the person of your dreams, because this isn't just exclusively heterosexual. This applies to all women. You can meet and marry the person of your dreams, but if it is a man, he's most likely going to die before you do, unless he's a lot young. Well, you never know. Someone could get by, but whatever. Most likely, statistically, he's going to die before you do. The kids are going to grow up and move out. And who are you left with? Your girlfriends. So they're a constant throughout your life. That's just always a soft place to land and a source of support and comfort and fun. Fun is so important to me. It's so important to come together and have fun.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice when there is that softer edge to it, because there's also groups of women that can not be that way, that can be more on their masculine side, and in competitive and gossiping and all of that. But when we can actually join together in friendship and having fun and laughing and just being ourselves, and then that is really nice. And like you say, there's that soul family. It's really just finding the people you're meant to be with. For me, I love having male friends. I actually feel stronger in that area, but I also really treasure my female friendships as well. But really, it's not even, men or women or female or however you identify. It's who you truly deeply connect with and can relate with and have the camaraderie with, and just having those conversations, having that alignment. There's a quote that I'm reminded of, and I can't think of who actually said it, so I apologize for that, but I really like the quote, and it's, those who understand will never judge, and those who judge will never understand.
Yes, I love that.
And like you were saying, that some people just don't get it. They might be family members or friends or colleagues, but it's finding the people who do, you know, and embracing that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Just along with what you just said, I do find times where I'm like, I need some time with my guy friends. I love working with just women. That is totally what works for me. I feel like that's my calling. But, I got to reach out to some of them sometimes. And I spent 20 years at Capitol Records, and my three main bosses over that time I'm still good friends with. So every once in a while, I'll reach out to them and just to connect with them because they each supported me in such a way that helped create me to be the person that I am today.
Ah,
So those connections are so important. And, I had a ton of coworker friends because spending so much time there, that's where the majority of my male friends come from. And I just, I was with them all day, every day for years. So I miss them sometimes. And I definitely need that to balance things out. So I think it's good for women to have both, have that solid community. And then whoever you're friends with, in addition to that, awesome. You can never have enough friends, right?
yes, yes. And there's a real change too. You mentioned your 20-year career with Capitol Records. We have that work family, right? Wherever we might be working at a 9 to 5 or type of job, we have that work family, the people that we do see every day, that's part of our daily existence. And then we kind of lose that and evolve from that. You mentioned a calling. So tell us about that transition from working at Capitol Records for 20 years and then following your calling to help women and to establish communities in these programs to help us overcome the nice girl syndrome, for example.
Well, the universe kind of decided that for me because I got laid off in
Ah, okay.
2008. But that's okay because I was 1 month away from getting my certification as a holistic health practitioner.
Oh, you're already on that path while you were there.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So I was like, okay, thank you. So I was on that path and getting things going, but then my mom needed me full time. So
right.
that all kind of came to a screeching halt, but I still wanted to do my work. I wanted to be contributing, helping, supporting. And this was before I was focusing solely on women. And right after I got laid off, I finished a book that I had been working on for a long time. It's called Living Peacefully in a Big City.
Oh,
And the idea for that came after a trip to Hawaii many years before. When I was like, everyone's so nice here, I'm going to move. And I thought, I don't want to move there. I want the niceness to be here.
yeah.
So I wrote a book to help with that. So I took a year and finished that book. And I started a YouTube channel and I was doing weekly videos, Feel Good Fridays with Tanna Marshall. And it was everything self-help, law of attraction, intuition, energy, universe, all of that stuff. Everything I could think of. I took my own personal experience and turned it into a teaching point and made a video about it. So I did weekly videos for about 7 years. And I
Wow.
started doing interviews with women. But it was my husband that actually, and I can't remember when this happened, but he suggests, he's like, why don't you work with women? You have such a good rapport with women. And that just felt really good to me. And I thought, yeah. So I just started focusing on that. And the infinite woman thing, I didn't come up with that. That idea was dropped into my head when I was in the steam room at the spa. I can tell you the date. It was December 2nd, 2011. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
what is that? And I heard you have to create it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, but okay. And my husband designed this beautiful logo for us. We had t-shirts made. I'm like, I still don't know what it is, but we have a logo and t-shirts. And now it's a community where we have virtual circles online. I have a Maui retreat coming up in October. This program is born out of that community. So it was kind of all evolved from my husband going, hey, how about this?
Oh, that's amazing. And I love that drop in. When we're totally relaxed is when we're most open to the world of possibilities. And it's literally that easy to figure out what we're meant to do. We take that
Yeah.
inspired action, of course, right? And that's part of the law of attraction. And
Mhm.
you have several certifications. So tell us how you got involved in all of that and what really stood out to you and how did that feed your passion?
Well, it all started when I was 15. I was diagnosed with lupus
Mm.
and I was pretty sick for a while. But I will say in the beginning, I lost my appetite during the summer and all I could do was lay around my neighbor's pool. So I went back to school thin and tan. Yay. And that was the beginning
No
of
one knew
coming back.
why.
Yes, that's when the ugly duckling thing started to kind of
Mm.
fade away. But I had a very bad relapse when I was 18. I was working in a flower store and it was freezing and not freezing like in other places, it's California freezing. But I had a really bad relapse and my doctor made me quit my job and he put me on steroids and Darvon for a week. And I was so drugged out and I hated the way I felt. And I thought there must be a better way to feel good and stay healthy. So I started studying health and holistic healing and natural remedies when I was 18. And it just kind of continued. And I did all this stuff on the side. I got my job at Capitol when I was 21, but I was still studying energy healing. I became a massage therapist. Uh, I was reading books about health, healing, self-help, spirituality. Louise Hay, someone told me about Louise Hay my very first week at Capitol. So that kind of took me on this whole other path, which opened up a whole new world to me. And it wasn't until it was 2006. I had a boss that I had such a great relationship with, and I thought, I'm just going to work with him for the rest of my life. And he wound up leaving and going and taking another job, and I didn't go with him. And then I started thinking, I don't really want to do what he's doing. And I didn't like where music was going. This is, post Napster, but it was already too late. And the music business is kind of scrambling. They don't know who they are, what they're doing, or how they're going to make things work. And so I kind of got out at a good time because it's very different now. I was there when it was fun and crazy and we had a great time. But having lupus is what set me on this path. And I did end up healing it. I don't use the word cure, I say healed. There was an online class that Eckhart Tolle did when A New Earth came out, right around the time I got laid off, very close to that time. He did an online class with Oprah. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the classes, he was talking about how we identify ourselves. And it could be a role in our family. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a caregiver. Or it could be your occupation. I'm an accountant, I'm a singer, I'm a bookkeeper, whatever it is. And I started thinking, oh my God, I've been identifying myself with lupus ever since I was diagnosed. And it was one of the first things I would tell people, especially a new boss. FYI, I have lupus. There are going to be days when I can't get out of bed and I won't be coming in, but just so you know, FYI. And I thought, I don't want to be identified with that anymore. And I knew I could heal it, but I didn't for a long time because I thought if I don't have this chronic illness to blame my fatigue on, people are going to think I'm lazy and unproductive. So I hung on to it. And a lot of people hang on to physical issues for a reason, to have a need met. And I realized that was what I was doing. And when I thought, oh my God, I want to let go of it, I don't want this anymore, I felt something shift in my mind and in my spirit and in my heart. And I went and I got tested. My doctor called me a few days later and she's like, you don't have lupus anymore. And I was like, oh my God, I felt so powerful and so healthy. I was like, oh, I felt like a superhero pose. But then the downside was I stopped giving myself permission to rest because
right.
So I run myself into the ground and I work too much now to exhaust. Like if I get to exhaustion, it's like, okay, now I have deserved rest. So I'm still trying to find that balance.
Yes. And that's what healing really is, isn't it? It's just a rebalancing, coming back into alignment. It's not that we're healing because we're broken, or maybe if we're identified in a certain illness and so on, it could feel that way. But truly, we are whole. And it's just sometimes things get out of sync, out of balance, and we need to find a way to come back into balance. So it makes perfect sense. And then, yeah, sometimes it's an illness, sometimes it's us that takes the power to be able to do that and make those choices.
Yeah.
So what are the ways that we can overcome the nice girl syndrome?
Well, first of all, I think it's deciding what you want. If you're perfectly happy, don't change anything. That's fine. A lot of people have that role, but they're surrounded by people who appreciate it and it works for them. But if you have a realization like, wait a minute, I want something different for my life. What do you want? You got to decide what you want. You have to know what you want. And there's that restaurant analogy. You can't go to a restaurant and if the waiter comes, you're like, I don't know. They don't know what to bring you. You have to know what you want. So the universe knows what to bring you. And so you know what path to take, because there are always physical steps for us to take. And then we have to turn a certain amount of it over to the universe. But on the physical plane, on the most basic levels, when we make that decision and we know we're going to have to set some boundaries, if it's going to be difficult with some people in our lives, we need that support. We need a step-by-step plan to move forward. That's why I created the program, and it's very systematic. It's like we take this step and then this step and then this step, and you gradually build up to things. And it's also realizing your own value and worth, that you deserve this. You deserve to be happy and have what you want. And you're setting an example for the people around you that they can have what they want too. So you're not neglecting anyone. They might feel neglected, but you're not neglecting people. And don't worry about being called selfish, because it's not a bad thing. And I think about this a lot. And I think the differentiating thing is they're self-centered, which is like, it's me, it's all about me, it's all about me. And selfish is just, I'm going to take care of me. And there's never anything wrong with that. And I love, Abraham Hicks, right? Okay, so I love how Abraham Hicks talks about it. When people accuse you of being selfish, what they're basically saying is, you're so selfish, you're pleasing you. You should be pleasing me. You're so selfish. And it just, when you look at it that way, it is so silly to be afraid of being called selfish. It's like, yeah, I'm selfish. I'm gonna get a shirt made. I'm selfish.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also going back to the feminine again, part of that feminine flow and being aligned with that is being able to receive.
Yes. Oh my God. So
Open.
many of us are not good at receiving.
Yeah.
We don't know how, we don't have enough practice. And when we do, we're so uncomfortable.
Mm.
And it could be a compliment, it could be a gift. And the bigger the gift, the more uncomfortable we get.
That's true.
I know my husband had my house painted pink for Christmas a couple of years ago. And I was so excited, but I was so overwhelmed that for the following year, I was like, oh, you don't need to get me anything. You don't need to do Valentine's Day or my birthday or anniversary because house. So it's like, that's enough. It was so big. I'm uncomfortable receiving anything else. I've gotten over that by now, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. I do. So how can people learn more and discover more about you and your work? Is there a website or social media connections that people connect with you?
Yeah, all my stuff is on my website. Very simple, tannamarshall.com, TannaMarshall.com. I am TannaMarshall.biz on Facebook and Tanna Marshall. Can you believe there are other Tanna Marshalls in the world? I wasn't able to get it on Instagram. So Instagram, I'm Tanna Marshall 8W, which is my abbreviation for Infinite Woman. Tanna Marshall.
Oh, nice.
8W, yeah, on Instagram, and LinkedIn is just Tanna Marshall. But yeah, I love Instagram. That's where I am, but everything's on Facebook and Instagram. But all my information, program information, Infinite Woman information, all on my website.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And I'll make sure I'll put those links in the show notes for everyone too, so it's easy access. And it's been so amazing having you here. I'm so grateful that you joined me today from LA. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been so much fun talking to you, and I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I wonder if there's any final words that you'd like to share with the audience.
Women, put yourselves first. It's okay. The rest of us have your back. Surround yourself with women who support you. You can count me among the first.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you to each and every one of you who've been listening and watching on Wise Women Wednesdays. I'm Jennifer Regular, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.